During the last year alone, the cryptocurrency Ripple delivered over 36,000% of gains to its investors, meaning that somebody with $100 of XRP on January 1st would have had roughly $36,000 of equity by the end of the year. And usually when an asset class has already made so many investors rich, it means that it's no longer a good buy. And that's usually down to one of two reasons, either because all of the room for growth has already been capitalized on, or simply because the price has hit such a level where it just doesn't make any sense to invest anymore. But in the case of Ripple, I'm willing to break the golden rule of investing and say that I still believe there's massive potential for growth, even following the insane bull run of last year. And while it's no secret that Ripple has been one of the most lucrative investments in the crypto space, you may be surprised to find out that less than 5% of the entire global population have even heard about Ripple, let alone invested into or used it. You're here with Jay from Central 5, and these are my top 3 reasons as to why Ripple could make you rich in 2018. But before we begin the video, if you're an investor in either the cryptocurrency or stock market, and you're looking to get better at investing your money, or potentially even start your own online business, then be sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on post notifications to make sure you don't miss any quality content. First up, and in at number 3, we have a relatively straightforward point regarding a subject that I like to call trading capacity, which basically refers to the percentage difference between the current price of a cryptocurrency and its all-time high. For example, let's say that Bitcoin is currently trading for exactly $10,000 and its all-time high was exactly $20,000, which of course means that Bitcoin is currently trading for exactly 50% of its all-time high, giving us a trading capacity of exactly 50%. The idea behind trading capacity is to give us an understanding of what point a cryptocurrency is at of its pricing cycle. For example, if Bitcoin's all-time high was $20,000 and its trading capacity roughly 95%, we'd know that it's dangerously close to its all-time high, and therefore that there's more chance of negative price movement than there is positive. Now, if we apply this basic method of analysing a cryptocurrency to Ripple, you'd see that it's currently trading for around 85 cents, which is less than a quarter of its all-time high, signifying a lot of room for potential growth. And even though Ripple grew by over 36,000% last year, it lost almost all of that value in the crash of January. Now, to the average investor, such a scenario would be gut-wrenching, but as for the professional investors, they go to bed each night dreaming of such a crash, as to them the lower the prices fall today, the greater the gains will be tomorrow. And of course, whether you welcome such negative price movement or not will depend upon whether you believe in the long-term prospects of Ripple, and believe that the real value of the token in the future will be far greater than it is today. If that sounds like you, then perhaps strong dips and crashes may be the time to accumulate instead of worry, as the lower your average entry point is now, the greater your gains could be when the uptrend finally does come. And of course, the validity of this point and method of analysis relies on the fact that the negative change in price isn't linked to a fall in the real value of the coin or token, but instead caused by something that doesn't affect the real value, like FUD or fake news. In at number 2, we're going to talk about the age and reputation of Ripple. Now, in cryptocurrency terms, Ripple is a very mature project, especially in comparison to its rivals, of which the majority like Tron and Electroneum are barely a year old. Cryptocurrencies in general are perceived by the majority to be a very cloudy and unsafe area to invest. The reason that most businesses, and more importantly financial institutions, are staying away from the industry, even when cryptos could help to reduce costs massively, is down to the unpredictability. Although it's unlikely to happen, as far as most CEOs and business owners are concerned, the crypto market could crash tomorrow, potentially leaving them thousands or in some cases even millions of dollars out of pocket. Just put yourself in the position of a company's CEO or director. If it's your own neck on the line, you're much more likely to stick with the more proven and safe method, even if it isn't necessarily the most efficient option. Although having said that, the banking and e-commerce industries are developing at an incredible pace, and more companies are being forced to embrace cryptocurrencies just to keep up with the competition. Already Ripple are partnered with over 100 financial institutions, including some of the world's most renowned, like the Bank of Abu Dhabi or UBS, and with the way that things have been going recently, it's very unlikely that this trend leading to mass adoption will end anytime soon. As like I said before, when one business adopts a piece of technology or a development that significantly reduces costs or enhances the finished product, the competition are put under pressure to do a similar thing in order to stay competitive and not lose market share. My prediction is that in the not so distant future, we'll have many companies and institutions rushing to integrate enhanced payment systems, and not necessarily because they'll want to, but because they'll have to. as fast and seamless transactions will be industry standard and what consumers expect. Now going back to what I said earlier, company CEOs and directors will be looking for a mixture of both the safest and most effective payment system available to integrate into their business. Ripple was specifically designed for the financial industries. It's fast, effective, incredibly cheap, and most importantly, relatively well established. All of these factors make Ripple a very likely candidate for adoption by businesses in many cases. For the sake of their reputation and being able to stay consistent, it's unlikely that well-established companies will adopt technologies like Tron or Electronium that are much younger and more unproven. When you're investing into what's essentially a product for businesses, you have to think in the same way that a CEO would, and try to figure out what their goals and motives are likely to be. Once you've been able to do that, you can now understand whether your product is likely to be in high demand, and ultimately whether it's likely to be a good investment. Okay, so in at number 1 we're going to talk about a point that I call the accelerator effect. Whenever a product, service, technology or item of clothing is adopted by a large number of people, the rate at which it continues to grow is increased as a result of there being more exposure. For example, if 10,000 people own a blue car and 100,000 own a red car, in theory the red car will get 10 times the amount of exposure the blue car will, therefore 10 times the amount of new adopters. Although the scenario varies widely, the principle remains the same throughout all industries, including cryptocurrencies. The more companies there are that adopt Ripple, the faster it will be exposed, which should proportionally increase the adoption rates and hopefully make Ripple some sort of industry standard. Company CEOs and directors are no different to people. Whenever we need help with a specialist area, like tax or law, we generally try to hire the best professionals from the most reputable firms, knowing full well that we may not be getting the very best value for money. Company management will also be looking for the best payment systems, even though others may be slightly faster or cheaper. Ripple is already integrated into and partnered with many well-established firms, which will hopefully act as some sort of guarantee for companies looking to switch to cryptos in the future. You know, the fact that Ripple has been able to service the needs of the Bank of Abu Dhabi and other internationally renowned firms surely means that they can handle the needs of my small or medium-sized business, or at least that's one way of looking at it. Anyway guys, those are my top 3 reasons as to why Ripple could make you rich in the future. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed the video be sure to give us a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel.